Welcome back to the Creative Leadership Network, where insight meets analysis and conversation spark transformation. I'm IBK. Listen, today I am going to be talking about parents and children and this entertainment industry and social media and all this stuff, guys. Listen, I know you heard of that song out there that's called 6'7". Yes, 6'7". It's been all over social media. It's been trending, like we used to say, like a big dog. You remember we used to say that in the South? That was one of the current terms. People would talk and they'd be like, honey, it happened like a big dog. Guys, if y'all don't get back to raising these kids, the world is going to raise them. You do not want the world to raise your kids. The world is going to raise your kids with prostitution. The world is going to raise your kids with incantations of darkness. The world is going to raise your kids with the concept of murder. Let me give you an example. Guys, remember when we were growing up back in the 80s and all that kind of stuff? And I won't say it was everybody, but at least it was in the world I grew up in. And I grew up in a big city, and as a young girl and everything, I went to a big elementary school and all of that. When there came time for bullying, when people would bully, and when I was young, there would be packs of boys that would run you home from school, right? For some reason, I was always targeted by boys. I was targeted by girls too, but the majority of mine, for some reason, is boys. And even to this day, for some reason, I have these men, they be always targeting me, right? And I know why. God has given me the revelation of why. But you do deal with certain things. Everybody deal with different things, right? And I never had an idea that I would take my life. And I never was around anyone who've been bullied or people who've been through things who ever had the concept of taking their life either. Like, I just didn't experience that. The thought never crossed my mind. None of that stuff, right? And I'm going to be so honest today on TCLN that I want to remind you, like when we grew up in the day, in the 90s and all of that, the worst thing that could ever happen to a female, I'm not talking about males right now, but a female, is that she would be on her cycle and she would bleed on herself. That is the worst thing. Not that she would get beat up by a pack of girls. Not that a pack of little boys that like her think she cute but don't know how to talk to her, run her home. Not some jealous little kids on the playground that say you ain't welcome to play, get away, and try to get you in trouble. The worst thing, when you get that age and you have that cycle, when young girls have their cycle, we had such a chain gang, it would be like this. Be like, I'm going to get up. Tell me if something is on the back of my pants or not. I don't know if y'all from the 80s. Anybody from the 80s and the 90s and all that? Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, we sat in these desks, right? These wooden desks, right? Especially if you're from Texas. So you sat in these wooden desks. And if you had to use the bathroom, you would get up. You always have your homegirl to cover you. And you get up, you'd be like, you see anything? You see anything? They'd be like, no. It'd be like, okay, I'm good. I can walk off, And so we always had this thing. I would never forget it. It was this young lady, right? And it's tormenting. And she was a tall girl, too. That's what made it so excruciating. She was our age, but she was like this tall girl. It seemed like she should have been like in the big girl, up there, right? And I never forget it. One day, she had on white pants. And why would her parents let her wear white pants with bleeding? And I don't know, during that time of the month. But for some reason, she had on white pants. And maybe she just started or something. I don't know. But she bled on herself. And I will never, ever forget how a whole school just treated that. And so growing up during that time, that was just like the worst thing, right? Because you didn't want boys, of course, because boys was the thing, girls was the thing, and you just didn't want boys. Girls, fine, because girls know girls' thing, but you just didn't want that boy that was crushing on you, or you were crushing on, or whatever the case may be, or just any boys, because boys talk. Boys talk. They will run you in the ground. I mean, they will give you names and titles and medal. They will run you in the ground. So, but with all that being said, and with all the bullying, and with all the stuff that people experience, being beat up, all kinds of stuff, right? Suicide never crossed our minds at young ages. They just didn't. Now, what did happen is that back in the day, you guys may get electronic report cards today. Back then, we didn't get electronic report cards. We got paper report cards, and you would have to sign them. You understand that? You would have to sign these paper report cards. And kids were so savvy back then, guys. I am not lying. These kids would be in elementary school. They were so savvy. They knew how to take that report card, fake like they gave it to their parent. They would sign it and copy their parent's signature and take it back to school. Now, to the best of the teachers who cared, if that report card wasn't right and that parent didn't call, the teacher knew, because they knew the household. This is how involved everybody was. Like back in the day, everybody just boo-bopping. But back then, people were involved. That parent will call the teacher and say, I didn't get a call from you or something like this, and I'm just making sure that you signed this report card, because there was this trend back then during that time. Them kids knew how to copy their parents' report card, the parent's signature on the report card. But for the teachers that didn't care, hey, it just got through the loops, right? People got away with it. But that just goes to show you, so many people just involved in children's lives, making sure what is going on here. Now, I kind of suffered a lot as a child. Like, I was bullied a lot as a child. I was bullied by teachers, students, neighborhoods. I went through a lot. I mean, for some reason, this world will pick certain children and certain people, and they would just bully. I even remember Beyonce talking one time, and Tina talking about Beyonce one time, and she was talking about how she was so afraid that one day Beyonce just wasn't going to have no friends. That's why she was so happy when Kelly came along. She said because when Beyonce was growing up, she said nobody liked it, Beyonce. They would put her on the play, they try to put her where her kids' playground, and they would just try to beat her on and pull her hair and beat on her. And Tina would have to run out there and say, why are y'all messing with her? And they'd be like, well, we don't like her. We just don't like her, and Beyonce is a very pretty little girl when she was pretty. So it was a lot of breeding, a lot of jealousy, right? And for my case, if you were a smart kid growing up, you got beat up for being smart too. A teacher asks questions and you raise your hand and you answer the question, all the class look at you. Oh yeah, you would get beat up for being so smart. Like, jealousy was just rampant, right? So things were not always cool. And we dealt with bullying and we dealt with hurt and pain. But we never had this idea that I want to terminate myself. So where is a lot of that coming from today? I told you, if you let the world raise your children, then you are going to see the results. The world is putting all of this stuff inside these children's conscience. Movies, music, all this stuff. These vibrations. You know how music make you feel. You in a bad mood, what's the first thing you do? You put on some good music. Try to dance that bad mood off, right? You want to hear a slow jam? Or you want to get with your little partner and get a little cozy. You know what I'm talking about? You put that little something on. Well, you know how it go. Music has a great effect. Entertainment, even cartoons, guys. You guys got to watch what's in these cartoons. They putting so many stuff in these cartoons. And if you parents are not parenting, I don't mean like you just got this chokehold on your child and that you so strict on your child. But if you're not in their affairs, let me see what they're looking at. Like, what is this that they're looking at? What are the words that are coming at them? What are the ideas that are being put inside them? Then that's what's raising your children. You may be feeding them and putting food on the table. You may be providing a roof over their head. You may be taking them back and forth to school. That's the first thing parents say. I do the best for you. I'm raising you. I'm doing this. But what you're doing is activity. But you're not really raising them. You got to raise them. In other words, you got to make sure that what's going in them is the thing that you want coming out of them. Because if you're allowing the world to put all this stuff in them, and that stuff it eventually is going to be coming out of them. What goes in got to come out. You know that. And so, guys, you really, really need to like get back to parenting. Not get back to acting parenting, but get back into parenting. So what I mean by that is not, oh, I feed you, I clothe you. You understand what I'm saying? I do this for you, I do that for you. But they're basically raising themselves, and the world is raising them. They got their headsets on. They run to their rooms. They listen to music. They don't, really have a relationship. And then if they do have a relationship with you, it's such a friendly relationship that it's like, I'll give an example. There were a group of people, and they were doing, the freak dance, the freaky dances that people be doing, where popping the pelvics and opening up the legs and the nasty freaky dances, right? Well, there was a baby up there. I'll never forget it. A little bitty baby, because like I said, kids copy stuff. They copy everything they see. So the little bitty baby had the little diaper on, and it was just bent over, popping it. And I said to myself, wow, this baby don't even know how to change his little drawers, and it's popping this little run. So again, you understand what I'm saying? Like, parents, I know you work. I know some parents have to work, and they just, it's tiring. With today's world and so much that's there today, it could be so tiring. Back then you worked on a job, you're going on about your business, you were good. But the cost of living, all the pressure, all the things, you understand what I'm saying? And some of you got 4 or 5 kids, you don't just have one, and there's a lot going on. And you've kind of gotten lackadaisy yourself. You kind of don't care. You reached out to the world for so long, and you just detonated. So now you just put the negative music in, don't care yourself. FOB, FO, Disney's net, get my money, screw the world, you kind of like settle for that state too. And it's understandable. There's no judgment here when it comes to that. Because I do understand. Trust me, when I say I understand, I don't tolerate everything. I'm one of the type of people, we ain't got to lay there. We ain't got to lay in it, But I do understand it. I do. But I really want to get this message to parents and say, parents, you got to get back to parenting. You got to get back to watching your children. Like, what are you listening to on this radio? Let me hear your headsets. Let me put this on. What is you listening to? You got to get back to, what is this you watching on TV? You got to get back to, what is this book that you read? You understand what I'm saying? Like, there are people literally making books, and some of that stuff is so dark that you don't even really know what your children are reading. Some of them books are teaching children how to put spells on their parents. You don't even know what your children are reading. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're parenting. So you're busy providing, you're not busy parenting though. You understand what I'm saying? So you working hard, you're getting that food on the table, you're getting them clothes on the back. You understand what I'm saying? You're getting them to and fro school. You're saying what you need to say to them, but you're not spending that quality time with them to make sure you're parenting them. And then if you are, you being too much of a friend, that can be detrimental. I remember growing up, our parents tell us, baby, I ain't your friend like that. I'm your parent. You understand what I'm saying? Which in the end, it was a little bit strict, So I want to balance it out. You got to be a friend, and you also have to be a parent. You have to distinguish that boundary with your children. If your children just take you for a friend all the time, they're going to cuss with you, drink with you, smoke with you. And then the world's still going to be raising them, putting that darkness in it. And then you're going to be going through all these things with these kids. And like I said, this system ain't going to stop making its money. The system going to make money off of sickness. The system going to make money off of mishaps, off of jails, off of everything it can make money on. So your job as a parent is to try to minimize as much as that as possible by sowing wisdom and value and understanding. And that's what I wanted to share with you today. So I hope that that blesses you and touches you in some type of way, just to remind you, you got to get back to that place where, what is you listening to? You got to get back to that place where, who is this you hanging out with? You got to get back. You understand what I'm saying? You can't be so busy providing that you're not parenting. You understand what I'm saying? I remember having my children. I had my children at such an early age. I was about almost 15 when I got pregnant with my first child, and I was 16 when I delivered it. And I didn't know anything. Well, actually, I was 15 when I delivered it. 15. So pretty much dagging up 14. So I didn't know anything. And none of this happened with my family. My family would have never allowed that happen. I was just so happened to be in CPS custody. I literally got pregnant in CPS custody. But I just remember, you have to understand that there's a difference between parenting and providing. Parenting is making sure that you are in that child's life, and you're making sure that whatever's going in them is what you want to go in them, so that you can produce what you want to come out of them. Providing is parents who go around fussing about, I'm doing this for you, I'm doing that for you, I'm working hard for you, I'm putting everything on the table, I'm doing that. And then you got the parents who think they parenting because they got such a friendly relationship with their kids, but they too friendly. And they letting their children do too much. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of having those boundaries, you have to have boundaries, teaching them boundaries, and at the same time teaching them to have boundaries. You letting them be too loose out there, guys. Too loose. You understand what I'm saying? And the world, if the world loves anything, it loves some loose-minded people. Because looseness, you understand what I'm saying? No preservative, no boundary, then you open for everything and anything. And that type of environment begins to raise and breed a lot of stuff that causes a lot of problems and a lot of dysfunction later on in life. You understand what I'm saying? So guys, I just wanted to share that with you. I hope that blessed you. I really, really do. Like I said, I had my children so young. I had no wisdom. Baby, I had no wisdom. The stuff I know today, I wish I knew then. I lacked a lot when it came to my children. A lot. It's a lot I didn't know. I just knew to stick the bottle in the mouth and change the diaper, copy what other people do. I knew that there was this bond there, or this thing there, because you have that naturally. But as far as a lot of wisdom and a lot of understanding, no. I just didn't have that. And but if I had it today, it'd be a whole different world, baby. Whole different world. So I just wanted to remind you, parents, of that, okay? Difference between parenting versus providing. And a difference between being such a friend and not being a parent. That with influence, you got influence all around. So much influence. And remember, we didn't have all that social media. We didn't have all the computers and all that and the phones and all of that. So it was limited in your corner of what peer pressure was. It was very limited. It was just the kids you went to school with, or that you went to church with, or that you understand what I'm saying, neighborhood kids and stuff, right? And believe me and you, if it was deep then, it's even deeper now. You have to understand that there's a difference between parenting and providing. Parenting is making sure that you are in that child's life, and you're making sure that whatever's going in them is what you want to go in them, so that you can produce what you want to come out of them. Providing is parents who go around fussing about, I'm doing this for you, I'm doing that for you, I'm working hard for you, I'm putting everything on the table, I'm doing that. And then you got the parents who think they parenting because they got such a friendly relationship with their kids, but they too friendly. And they letting their children do too much. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of having those boundaries, you have to have boundaries, teaching them boundaries, and at the same time teaching them to have boundaries. You letting them be too loose out there, guys. Too loose. You understand what I'm saying? And the world, if the world loves anything, it loves some loose-minded people. Because looseness, you understand what I'm saying? No preservative, no boundary, then you open for everything and anything. And that type of environment begins to raise and breed a lot of stuff that causes a lot of problems and a lot of dysfunction later on in life. You understand what I'm saying? So guys, I just wanted to share that with you. I hope that blessed you. I really, really do. Like I said, I had my children so young. I had no wisdom. Baby, I had no wisdom. The stuff I know today, I wish I knew then. I lacked a lot when it came to my children. A lot. It's a lot I didn't know. I just knew to stick the bottle in the mouth and change the diaper, copy what other people do. I knew that there was this bond there or this thing there, because you have that naturally. But as far as a lot of wisdom and a lot of understanding, no. I just didn't have that. And but if I had it today, it'd be a whole different world, baby. Whole different world. So I just wanted to remind you, parents, of that, okay? Difference between parenting versus providing, and a difference between being such a friend and not being a parent, okay? So guys, I hope that blessed you in this week's episode, and catch me next week, okay? Catch me next week. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate this. I would love for you to share it with other people. If you are watching Austin Public, make sure you continue to watch. There are many different programs up there, but I am TCLN Network, and love for you to join me every Wednesday at 6:30 Central Standard Time. If you don't get to catch me fully, always you can check me out and connect with me on YouTube. I am TCLN Network. Go ahead and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Make sure your notifications are turned on in your phone. So when those videos are dropping, you are getting that content. I would love for you to help support and find out more about me right over there at the creativeleadershipnetwork.com. Again, that's creativeleadershipnetwork.com. And thank you for tuning into TCLN Network, Austin Public. TCLN Network is independently produced by IBK Media Productions. To support TCLN Network financially, visit paypal.me/TCLN Network. Also, TCLN Channel Podcast. To learn more about TCLN Network, visit thecreativeleadershipnetwork.com and follow on all socials, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at IBK Media Works.